Chapter 20, New York City, August 18th, 2015, early evening. Trump is back.
I'm back, baby!
11 days after threatening to declare war on Fox News over the Megyn Kelly incident, the candidate sits in his Trump Tower office feeling very confident before his interview with me on the Fox News channel.
I'm always confident.
That's because a number of post-debate polls have rolled in showing Mr. Trump with a commanding lead among likely Republican voters, even after the Kelly question, and some controversial comments by the candidate afterward.
Hey, I say whatever I want and the people love me.
The consensus polling has Trump at 24%, Jeb Bush at just 13%, and Ben Carson rising to 9%. It looks like the Kelly thing actually helped candidate Trump in the polls.
Thank you, Megyn Kelly.
It is clear Governor Bush is in trouble, even though there is no single reason that his campaign has not caught on. Bush has plenty of money, but inexplicably, he avoids TV programs like mine, where he could get free airtime and mix it up a little. But he's Dr. No almost every time we call.
Why does that not surprise me?
In contrast, Donald Trump is everywhere. The guy would do chiller theater if he thought he could get a few votes. And there are plenty of invitations because, as stated, Trump brings in viewers.
I could be in a haunted house, and everyone would watch me.
But my analysis zeroes in on another reason the TV moguls are courting Donald Trump. The feeling among many in the Manhattan media precincts is that Hillary Clinton is a lock for the Democratic nomination. The topic is discussed openly in the saloons of 6th Avenue, where many press people slake their thirst. The prevailing wisdom is that Bernie Sanders has a following, but that Mrs. Clinton has the liberal donor class. And the fix is in. The so-called superdelegates, who are allowed to vote any way they want at the convention, will go big for the former Secretary of State.
How stupid and corrupt.
That is exactly what will happen. But the fix extends far beyond party politics. Some media decision-makers, such as CNN chief Jeff Zucker, a former friend of Donald Trump, enjoy cake, eating it and digesting the sweet while shaping the presidential race. Zucker knows Trump is great for his network's ratings, but he also believes Hillary Clinton will annihilate Trump in the general election.
Not gonna happen.
A satisfying outcome for the very liberal Zucker and other media poobahs who see it the same way. So let's get Trump on, because the mantra of the TV news industry. We win both ways because he'll never beat Hillary, while Marco Rubio just might.
I don't think so.
While preparing for the interview with Trump this evening, I have to decide whether to ask him about Megyn Kelly. A few days after the first debate, the candidate called me at home and vented about Kelly. He wanted my opinion, but all I said was that the question had been legit. I did not criticize Kelly because I don't do the behind the back stuff. I did tell Mr. Trump that I would have asked the question differently, but did not define it further. Luckily, Trump was so fixated on chastising Megyn that he didn't ask.
My focus was on Megyn.
In addition, Fox News was still hearing from angry viewers, and Roger Ailes wanted the situation to recede. I understood that if I shot it out of the air with Trump over Megyn Kelly, something the candidate would relish, it would blow the entire thing up again. Roger had been good to me, so I decided to avoid the Megyn subject entirely, even though no one suggested that I do so. Looking back, I think I made the right decision.
Good for you, Bill.
Kelly aside, it was clear to me that Donald Trump was gaining support by hammering two selected groups: illegal aliens, especially those convicted of crimes, and violent Muslims. I already had Trump on the record about radical Islam when he briefly explored running for president in 2010. Do you believe overall there is a Muslim problem in the world?
There is a Muslim problem, absolutely. You just have to turn on your television set.
And you think it encompasses all Muslims?
No, and that's the sad part about life, because you have fabulous Muslims. I know many Muslims, and they're fabulous people. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, there is a Muslim problem in the world. And you know it, and I know it. But some people don't like saying it because they think it's not politically correct.
Why doesn't the Muslim community throughout the world speak out more forcefully against the jihadists?
Well, there's something that brings a level of hostility that I've never seen in any religion. You can say what you want about the Quran. There's something there. There's a tremendous hatred of us.
Donald Trump has never wavered from that belief.
No, I haven't.
One that his core supporters have applauded time and again. Likewise, with regard to the millions of foreign nationals who have entered the United States illegally over the years, candidate Trump is calling for a tough policy to be imposed on that front.
It needs to be.
So that's where we began on a mid-August night in 2015. The Wall Street Journal says you're killing the Republican Party over immigration. And you say,
we have to bring our country back, Bill. We're in big trouble. We're losing so much. We have at least 11 million illegals in the country. Not only the jobs are taken, but everything else. And you know about the crime rate because I think no one has covered the crime rate better than you. We've spent $113 billion on illegal immigrants. We have to do something about it. And we have to start by building a wall. A big, beautiful wall. A big, beautiful, powerful wall. It can have a gate. It can have a door. We'll let people in legally. But we have to stop what's happening to our country because we're losing our country.
There it is. We're losing our country. Although I did not know it when Trump used the phrase on my program, there, clearly stated, was his key to the White House kingdom.
They're taking away our country.
Of course, they are the cowardly politicians, disapproving journalists, and the politically correct, bleeding heart Hillary backers. Us. Them. Who are you with? No other Republican candidate had a theme that came close. Let's see. Would the crowd respond to a new Medicaid proposal or a strong threat against jihad?
The second one.
Would voters rally to Jeb Bush's educational theories or to Trump denying bad people entry to the United States?
Bad people entry to the United States.
While the supercilious media looked down on Trump's populist words, the folks heard them loud and clear. Here was a candidate who spoke straight and was sick of politics as usual, just as they were. What did President Obama do for them in 8 years other than force a confusing new healthcare system down their collective throats?
Nothing.
Where was the opportunity for working people?
There wasn't.
Why was it always politically correct groups that received support? Wages were stagnant, new jobs scant, foreign nationals all over the place, and ISIS was beheading people on video.
Disturbing.
And Megyn Kelly was worried about Donald Trump calling far-left radical Rosie O'Donnell a pig? Come on!
Yeah, come on!
A tidal wave was beginning that August night. I felt it while looking into the camera asking candidate Trump questions. The folks were responding to blunt talk and specific ideas that sounded good. A wall on the border, payback to radical Muslims, getting tough with China.
It's what we need.
Most important, tens of millions of Americans sincerely believed they were indeed losing their country. And at last, there had appeared a presidential candidate who agreed with them.
I do agree with you.
This wasn't John McCain or Mitt Romney, establishment politicians who allowed an articulate Barack Obama to roll over them. Donald Trump would never stand for that.
No, I wouldn't.
His supporters thought. After all, he went after Obama hard with the birth certificate. From my vantage point, Dr. Jekyll Trump had found a magic formula and was just beginning to figure out how to turn himself into a political Mr. Hyde.
I like that.
If you and Robert Louis Stevenson were paying attention, it was clear that transformation was developing quickly. Perhaps the first appearance of Mr. Hyde Trump on the campaign trail came the day after the Kelly-Trump confrontation on Friday, August 7th. Speaking on CNN, a still teed-off candidate Trump related how he observed Megyn Kelly as she was asking the woman question during the debate.
Stupid. You could see she had blood coming out of her eyes. Blood coming out of wherever,
Donald Trump told an interviewer. The outcry was immediate. Trump's rival scorched him. Another Republican said he was now an unacceptable candidate.
Says you.
Liberal Democrats, of course, were beyond crazed.
They would be, I know.
Although Trump quickly issued a statement saying that the word wherever had meant her nose, not anything to do with the menstrual cycle, women's groups went wild with condemnation. If Donald Trump had been a corporate employee, he likely would have been fired immediately. The hue and cry was deafening, but Mr. Trump was not an employee. He answered to no one.
No one.
Not even to fundraisers, as he was financing much of his campaign with his own money. The last person Donald Trump had ever deferred to was his father, Fred, and that was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
However, candidate Trump did have to consider the court of public opinion, and he did not know how the debate and the bitter comment about Megyn Kelly afterward was going to play out. The polls clearly answered that question. Trump remained well ahead in the Republican field.
What did I tell you before, people? I am the best, no matter what.
That was a turning point for candidate Trump. He began to understand that his in-your-face presentation was actually inoculating him against bad press and pressure groups. The more outrageous his rhetoric, the firmer his supporters stood by him.
I knew that.
Modern politics have never seen anything like this. It was almost as if Don Rickles were running for president. Assessing his unique situation, Donald Trump decided that he would never apologize for anything.
Nothing.
That would show weakness.
Yes, it would.
In fact, going forward in the campaign, Trump would step up the insults.
Oh, yes.
They received massive attention and apparently bioed his strongman image. So, he let them fly.
Fly away!
It is no accident that Andrew Jackson is one of Donald Trump's favorite presidents.
I love him.
If someone insulted the Southerner, Jackson might actually shoot them.
Oh, yeah.
Our seventh president actually participated in a number of duels, killing at least one man and getting shot in the chest himself. Jackson carried that piece of lead in his body until he died.
Good man, strong man.
Andrew Jackson believed that if someone insulted him, that person should pay a price.
Yes, they should.
Donald Trump adheres to that point of view as well.
Yes, you step on my toes, you get punched in the face.
So candidate Trump injected invective into the race for president. Here are a few examples. After falling behind Ben Carson in a poll taken in Iowa, Donald Trump insulted the state when he tweeted, "Too much Monsanto, and the corn creates issues in the brain." He branded Senator Rubio,
"Slutty Marco."
He branded Senator Cruz,
"Lying Ted."
He branded Senator Elizabeth Warren,
"Pocahontas."
Trump tweeted about Jeb Bush.
He has to like the Mexican illegals because of his wife, who is Latina.
He tweeted that Charles Kruthammer was
one of the worst and most boring pundits on television.
He said MSNBC personality Mika Brzezinski was
bleeding badly from the facelift.
Well, I guess all the incentive is better than shooting people, like Jackson did. The historically interesting thing here is that the insults are part of a strategy. Never be boring. Always go on offensive. It really doesn't matter what you say as long as it gets attention. During World War II, the adage was, "Loose lips sink ships." In Trump's war of attrition to win the presidency, that adage was changed to a quote from The Untouchables. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. That's the Trump way. Trump supporters, at least many of them, were amused by his campaign antics. What would he say next? In a country where social media assaults the senses every second of every day, Donald Trump's verbal aggression became part of the attraction for some voters. In addition to mocking came verbal exaggeration, which the Trump critics uniformly said were lies. As stated, candidate Trump mostly does not use precise language. In order to make points, he often exaggerates. A vivid example of this is when he said he saw thousands of Muslims celebrating after the 9/11 attack. There were reports in New Jersey that some anti-American activity took place in the aftermath of the terrorist attacks, but nothing large-scale. Didn't matter to candidate Trump, bad Muslims were on display. And what difference does it make if it's 12 or 12,000? Bad is bad.
Exactly. Bad is bad.
What the anti-Trump media never understood is the insults. Hyperbole and bombastic presentation isn't chump change. It's Trump change, meaning it's insignificant.
Insignificant.
Millions of Americans believe they are lied to every day by the media.
They are.
And don't even get them started on career politicians.
The worst.
Donald Trump's lies are overlooked because the greater good is served by the man slapping down folks who deserve to be slapped. Terrorists, criminals, fake news people, violent foreigners who sneak into America,
not to mention the politicians.
Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Jeb Bush, and most other politicians were never going to call out the bad people. Trump would, so who cares if he embellishes or insults?
I don't care.
He'll make America great again by taking a licking while he keeps on ticking. He's not afraid, and he never backs down.
And that is the kind of president you need. Me.
Andrew Jackson had nothing on Trump. Old Hickory would have been wearing a MAGA hat as he drew his pistol in those 19th century duels. America in 2015 had become soft and polarized. It needed a verbal gunslinger to clean up Dodge. Donald Trump understood this, viscerally, and he had the stomach for the attacks that he knew awaited him.
I always do. I have a strong stomach, you know.
By August 2015, Trump also understood the nomination was his to lose. He saw that his supporters did not give a rip what the New York Times thought or what was said by snotty commentators on CNN.
Who cares about them?
Trump had outfoxed the TV media and survived the first onslaught of attacks. The political apprentice was beating the career guys while barely breaking a sweat. For those of us covering the presidential campaign honestly, the old rules had been obliterated. We were now all on Trump time, even Hillary Clinton.
So get used to it. To be continued.